Welcome to Amazons et al. On Trust TV with me, Aisha Umar Yusuf. Our guest today had the rare privilege of being a commissioner in our home state and a federal minister in our federal cabinet. Amiable, ever smiling and nice. She's an acclaimed civil servant, an international activist, and a recognized campaigner for women's rights. I'm sure you'd want to meet her. So join us after this short break and do so. You're welcome to Amazons et al, Your Excellency. You've had quite a number of accomplishments in life, mashallah. Can you tell us how it all started? Who is the real Aisha Ismail?
Well, it started obviously by me going to primary school, alhamdulillah, and secondary school, yes, and university. Yes. My local government is Gorzo local government from Kano State. Yes. And I was born, in a very large family. We're really big family. And my father had many children as well. I am the eldest in the house. And so from there, I was in Government Girls College, Dala, Kano, secondary school. I went to ABU Zaria, and from ABU, I went to University College of Swansea. They call it University of Wales, actually, okay, in Britain, UK. Yes. Yes. And okay, I got married and I worked all my life. I have 4 children now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You went to university at a time when most girl children were not allowed to. What did it take to convince your parents to allow you to go? Or did it take a lot of convincing?
No, it was not a problem at that time for me, yes, because my father is an educationalist, yes, and he actually went to Baghdad for his degree course. Yes, yes. And he has been a teacher, he was a lecturer, and he became an imam as well. And he was, I think, one of his, one of his principles was the fact that he was really committed to our education, all of us. And he did not discriminate. I have 2 brothers that are doctors. Mm-hmm. One is a professor now in medicine, one a consultant and visiting consultant, and 2 girls as well, doctors. One pediatrician, one general physician. Yes. We have like about 3 engineers, yes, in the house, electrical, and lawyer, biochemist, all of them, girls and boys. None of my brothers and sisters, none had not attained at least a degree.
MashaAllah, that's good.
So it was not difficult. And remember, at that time, we were the generation that actually the governments at state level in northern Nigeria were trying to push very hard, yes, to go to school. So, to go to university. Yes. I remember it was our school that took us to ABU for our exams to go into School of Basic Studies.
I see. That's very good. You became a commissioner, and we've been wondering, at that time we saw you on TV, almost smiling, and we keep thinking this is a very happy lady, So I want to know, did you experience any negative reaction or experiences from your colleagues, being that you were a female, and there were only 2 of you, I think, female commissioners?
Yeah, we were 2,
yes,
at that time. And no, not from our colleagues, actually. Though there has always been this thing about, women decision makers and male decision makers. For one thing, they always gang up, of course. Yes. And number 2, because they were in the majority, I don't even know now whether we can say there's a place where we are in the majority. Yes. So we can comfortably say they are always in the majority. Yes. There's always this thing about, lack of seriousness, really, for the opinions and the observations and concerns, yes, okay? But for the colleagues, no. Because it was military time, there was this thing about decorum, yes, in terms of, decisions and so on. Yes. So there wasn't much negativity amongst us. And at least we were allowed to work within our area. Mine was health and social welfare. So the other colleagues must listen to me.
Yes.
You understand?
In that area.
Yeah, like I had to listen to the Commissioner for Education when it was about education.
Yes.
And so there was that respect amongst us. And from the view of the society, you know, it was like a novice. But I think your problem more or less had to do with how you're going to, I mean, to coordinate working as a public figure and also your duties within the home and the society, which they never relinquish.
I was actually coming to that. I wanted to ask how you were able to combine that, you know, pursuing a career and then suddenly a cabinet seat, and then the children and possibly the husband also, everybody demanding attention. How did you manage it?
It was very difficult, I assure you that. Yes, I don't know how it is now, but it was so difficult. Yeah. You were reliant on people that were not really exposed to formal education and maybe even exposed to your culture to look after your children. Yes. And then the demand in the home, it never ceased really. There was nothing like consideration for the fact that you were a public office holder. Exactly. And in fact, it became stiffer for, you know, the women. Yes. There was no compromise on you. You had to try and be a good wife, a good mother, and then also a good public officer. Now, the problem is you cannot even think of making a mistake. When your male colleague makes a mistake, there's always this tendency to overlook it. Yes. But your mistakes were always public.
Because you're a woman.
Exactly. And your flaws and lapses were always a basis, not only for you, but for others coming into the decision making. For instance, you know, something happens out of the blues. Your child is sick, and there was a function, and you had to rush home. And the next thing you hear is, oh, they're women. It means we should not be taken seriously, neither should we be given serious positions. It was a bit tough because nobody was compromising on your behalf. But just imagine if a man is in a public office, everybody compromises for him. His wife understands if he comes back 1 a.m. because he had to attend, you know, budget meeting, is all right. You understand? So,
but husbands don't do the same.
Exactly. Right. But for the wife, I mean, you can lose your marriage if you stay 1 a.m. trying to do the budget with everybody.
It's true.
And when the child is sick, they will not call your husband, even though he was not in public office. They will call you. In fact, he will never think of going to take the child to hospital. And going to school, you must make sure you take your children to school before you go to the office.
Exactly.
And so you and even the children suffer because you have to take them so early so that you are not late. You were the mirror. And I don't think it has changed really much, you know, seriously.
So you became a federal minister a few years later. Was it much different heading the two ministries?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
You know, while that was like you were leading in a closed society, this is the minister. Open, exactly. This is much wider. Now, I was interacting basically with everything, you know, and everybody that was within my environment, my culture, you know, and maybe 99% my religion as well. So it was totally different. But as a minister, you know, you are dealing with a cosmopolitan kind of situation where, you know, diverse cultures, diverse religions, diverse everything. And even the terrain you're thinking about. So when you're thinking of laws, like when you're thinking of laws for Kano, it's much easier than when you're thinking of laws for Nigeria. I remember, you know, some of the laws we tried to get enacted was so difficult because of the perceptions and the cultural beliefs and how would it apply and whether it will contravene this religion or whether it will affect, you know, this society negatively, while you were actually trying to
balance things.
Yeah, and create a positive, action.
Yes, it's true.
But your positive thinking will negate on others.
Oh, so a lot of brainstorming went into it.
Of course.
Yes.
And, I was a minister for women and youth. And that was a consumption ministry.
Okay, at the time the ministry was combined.
Yeah,
I think they're no longer together now.
No, they're no longer together. They changed it to Ministry for Women and Social Development.
Yes.
But while I was there, it was Ministry for Women
and
Youth.
Okay.
And so, when in decision making, this ministry will seem like just a consumption ministry.
Yes.
Because you have to keep building inside. So you need to invest resources in there. It's not like, say, Ministry of Finance that's counting the money.
Yes.
Or Petroleum Ministry that is bringing the money.
Yes.
And forgetting that, if you don't invest in the human being, whatever you do, forget it. You will not have an economy, and neither would you have a society, really. So there was always this conflict of understanding, Why should you? While as a Minister for Women Affairs, I tend to see women issues as a developmental issues.
That's true.
Most people and most decision makers were viewing, women issues as social issues.
Yes, it's true.
So actually, women issues were just a burden issues, charity work, you have to do charity to the women. They are in a problem, health-wise, economic-wise, and so on. So there was always this conflict of understanding.
Yes.
But I was lucky, that cabinet consisted of people that were relatively exposed in the areas, not only of governance, but critical thinking as well.
Okay. Thank you, Your Excellency. We'll take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll take some more questions. Yes. Well, welcome back to the program. We are continuing our discussion with our Amazon for today, Hajiya Ismail. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your time.
It's my pleasure.
So I get from your last response that it was quite difficult getting maybe the right amount of funds for running the ministry because people see it as a consumption ministry. Is that did I get it right?
Yes, the budget was not, like it is now. The ministry, of course, were the least budget in terms of budget allocation. And I remember for the 4 years, I did not execute capital projects. Why? Because when I needed 500 million, I would be given 250. And so I would return it.
Yes.
I believe that if you're executing a project, you must have the funds first, so that you can see to the conclusion of your project.
Exactly.
Now, my problem was not even that. Sometimes you get 1/3 of what you need. And you are expected to do a project, you understand, to finish, you must have time limit because that's what development exercise is all about.
Exactly.
You must have the funds and you must have time frame to finish the project.
When you were at that ministry, you were able to go around the country, view Nigerian problems, women problems across the country, not like you said when you had to do the minimal one in just Kano State. What can you, in a few maybe sentences, say are the main problems shared by all Nigerian women?
Number one, the Nigerian women belong to the very, very low economic ladder. Okay. We did not constitute up to 10%. Okay? Or can I say we do not have up to 10% access to the economy of Nigeria. Okay. That is shared across board, everybody. Okay. Number two, we were working over 16 hours a day, generally. Nigerian women. Number three, we were totally in charge of the local economy. Without Nigerian women, you wouldn't have had any economy in Nigeria. And that is my fear even now. I don't know. Because at that time, you understand.
What were they doing? What contribution exactly? Are you talking about farming or cottage industries?
I will tell you. First and foremost, farming.
Okay.
We were farmers by excellence.
Yes.
Now, all the linkages in agriculture were occupied by women. Just think about it. You know, the men will do just one part of it, but the rest. Food processing, 100% women. Distribution, 100% women. And to some extent, retailing, because the men do take up retailing because that was the end of the hard work. Yeah. Okay? And then the informal sector was, 99 or more % women.
And is it all over the country?
All over the country. And that is how we were surviving, because the formal economy was nothing to write home about. We were not a productive society, and therefore, at the end of the day, we are reliant on just commission from oil multinationals, okay? And that was all. And that money, too, was not going to the people, really. It was just money for maintenance of governance in Nigeria. That means the cost of government.
Yes.
After that, everything is just secondary.
I see.
You understand? It's after governance. Just think of it. When you look at Nigeria's budget, the overhead and it's always way like 60% to the capital projects. And even these, we have a country littered with abandoned projects all over, because even what we budgeted was not even going to the capital projects anyway. So that's the picture of the economy that you have. Now, how do people survive? We have to produce, we have to do services as human beings. And that was solely from the local economy.
I see.
And in the hands of the women. And yet they have less than 10% access to the resource of Nigeria. That is our course.
No, sorry. But how can we make things better for them? What do you think we can do to get them more empowered or give better access to funding for women?
Okay, you see, for me, I will want the women and the society, government, everybody, to remove that thinking of doing charity to women. These are your, like strong pillars of your economy.
Exactly.
So invest in them as economic assets. Create capital out of what they do.
Yes.
Okay? And then make your economy a productive economy. It amazes me how people from the government will start talking about how to reduce inflation, how to mop up currency. When your currency has no value, when it has almost zero purchasing power, what are you mopping about? What are you talking about?
It's too bad.
The value of your currency depends on how productive you are. And this is the largest productive unit in your country. Invest in them.
Yes.
If I am a processor, okay, now give me the tools and the environment to process and specialize.
That's true.
But without specialization, how am I going to move forward? We're still using the same rudimentary methods to produce. Today, if you see the bill on cooking oil, and everybody knows who produces cooking oil in Nigeria? Women. You go to the south, they do the palm oil. You come to the north, we do the groundnut oil. Whatever oil you are thinking about. Why don't you invest in that? Why don't you get, what is the use of our research institutes that cannot produce the machines, the technology, so that you specialize and improve productivity in that area? If you're producing groundnut oil, maybe it takes a woman a whole week to bring out, maybe 20 liters. So why don't you make it that she can make 200 liters?
Exactly.
It's possible.
It's true. You are a member of many international organizations. What benefit does this membership bring to your campaign for women's rights?
You see, like I started, my UN experience when I was a PAMSEC in Kano. That was Directors General PAMSEC, because that's how I started.
Yes, okay.
Okay? I went as an alternate head of delegation to the UN on behalf of Nigeria. So you find that when you are in dialogue with international NGOs,
yes,
if nothing else, you can promote understanding of your realities.
it's true.
Most actions in the world are based on assumptions of what are your problems. You understand? And then they come and try to ram those assumptions into you that this is what you are. But dialogue with international NGOs, agencies, communities will give you, the opening to say, no, this is my problem. I will give you an example. I went to see the Secretary General of UN. And the first thing he asked me was, how am I doing about polygamy?
Yes.
Because Nigeria signed CEDAW and even signed the optional protocol to CEDAW. But inside that protocol, there is a provision that you have to bring an end to polygamy. Okay?
Yes.
Now, Nigeria signed without reading or going through really, because you can look at it and say, okay, I sign, but I have reservation because I can't do this. I have a problem.
Yeah, it goes against religious beliefs.
In fact, you can take every line. That's what developed countries do.
Yes.
When there is an international protocol, they take every line. Okay, I will read it. No, this one with reservation.
Yes.
It means I'm going to try, but I may not succeed. So you cannot penalize me.
Okay. I can't even take it if it is we don't go down with
exactly. Then second line, reservation. Okay, or you can look at the whole protocol. I say I sign, but because I have to discuss with the people, with my government, with everything, I am signing with reservation. Unfortunately, Nigeria never did that.
They ratified everything.
They just signed it and ratified it, and and signed the optional protocol to CEDAW. So now they ask me what we are doing. So I said nothing. And everybody, was like, you're not doing anything, but it's part of the provision. I said, look, I have a problem. When all your leadership that are supposed to act against a certain concern, international concern, do that, how are you going to get to work to it? I can list all of you, every member, every sector of leadership in my society. The people there are polygamous. Both men and women. Okay? The men marry more women, the women marry men with more women.
With wives.
Exactly. So how am I going to start?
Yes, it's true.
The executive are polygamous. The legislature are polygamous, and the judiciary are polygamous. So, and that is when it dawned on them. I said, look, they don't see it as a harmful practice to women. So it's quite impossible for you to start a campaign that will bring it to an end, because that society you want does not see it the way you see it.
Exactly. I know it's very true. I know you're a mother and a grandmother.
Yes.
So I want to have an idea. What are your children up to?
Each one of them, they are trying very hard. My son read...
You can edit it.
Huh?
No. Go ahead.
My son read business to master's level, and that's what he wants to do, My second daughter, she first read business computing, but she's abandoned it, and then I went to read, architectural design, I think, and interiors, and she's working in that area.
That's nice.
My third child is now a surgeon who transplants liver and pancreas and all sorts of things.
Very good.
So I am left with my youngest, who is trying to find her bearing.
Oh, that's nice.
And my grandchildren are small, so...
How many are they?
5 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
My daughter has 3 and my son has 2. So,
that's good.
and so they are just starting primary.
I see,
And
nice.
they are in kindergarten.
So what advice do you have for young women, young Nigerian women?
First and foremost, in my experience throughout, you know, you have to accept yourself first before anybody accepts you.
It's true.
Now, if you are the person that needs acclamation from others, you want praise, or you want even acceptance, you won't go very far. So first, do all that for yourself. Accept yourself. Believe in your capacity. Believe in your, your principles, you know, and also believe in your dreams. And map out, how am I going to do it? Don't get bothered with all the, discussions of positive or negative on what you can do, because at the end of the day, you are the only one that can do it. And the power of your thinking is very, very important.
It's true.
Think positive. Yes, I can do. There's nothing you cannot do in this world.
Yes.
They are going now to make flights to space everywhere. It's going to become commercial, like you take a flight to London, you know.
Yes.
So there is nothing you cannot do.
So all they need is a positive mindset.
Exactly. And then please, remove all that, narrow thinking.
Okay.
Don't try to get, don't allow somebody to direct your life.
It's true.
If you do that, you're finished. And then also another thing is there's this lack of humanity. I don't know why we don't want to be so humane. You understand? Let us be different, please. If you have a child, you know what it is like to look at a newborn baby, how helpless that is, and dependent on you. You can do whatever you want. Yes. Now, if you don't have humanity in you, there is going to be a problem. Please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We're very glad to have had you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. So thank you so much for being with us. I'm sure you had a nice time listening to Her Excellency Hajiya Ismail narrating her experiences as a federal minister and in other roles. Hope you'll be with us next week to meet our new Amazon. Until then, bye-bye from me.